In the last episode, we saw Ryan and Maria attempt to find a way around the conflict between poly and monogamy through offering unsustainable compromises and whitewashing the narrative of infidelity. In this episode, we will learn about Ryan's infidelity with a mutual friend named Megan as a reaction to his discovery of Maria's affair with Jason. Let's take a look.
It feels like it's solely my responsibility right now.
Which part?
That, oh well, you cheated, but that doesn't really matter because it's just going to be these issues anyway.
Did you hear me say that this is a guess, and that part needs to be talking about in more details, and we'll probably add more stuff?
Well, and I know that, but like let's stop the exploration and let's stop where we're at right now and just figure out if you two can be compatible. But like to me, I don't know that we can answer that question until all the issues are there. Everything's brought out because like I don't care that he slept with her. I don't care that he has a relationship with her. I don't care that he talks to her. My problem is that he looked me in the eyes and told me that I was being paranoid. That's the fundamental difference between the two of us. There was no emotional attachment on his part. It was just about sex. And that's where I'm fighting.
Sure.
On my part, is there is emotional attachment for me because that's what making love is.
So let me say this in a different way, and I hope it doesn't minimize your feelings. That's not my intention, right? We need to look at his infidelity at the same depth and level of details that we've looked at yours. No ifs and whats and buts about it. The reason I'm focusing on this, because right now the main obstacle that seems going to be unresolvable is this part about poly. Now, if you feel that somehow the discussion about his infidelity is going to change that, part of me would be, only guess I could come up with, is maybe that if we get in more depth about his infidelity, somehow his vision or view about poly will change. Because
hopefully the light bulb will come on at some point.
okay, so still along the line of what is that this is where I'm at. I'm hoping that if we talk about his infidelity, it will change his mind. Right?
Maybe.
No, maybe. Either yay or nay.
Yeah.
So that's so if I'm pushing on that, it's not because I don't think that's a possibility. It might be, but I think it's a slim possibility. But it doesn't mean we should not talk about it. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, right now, the more concrete obstacle is this part. If having a discussion about his infidelity will unlock that, yeah, more power to you. But you also have to say, okay, why now, after I talk about my infidelity, somehow I magically change my view about poly, not just poly in general, but poly with Jason. If there is a way for him to actually a path for that, great. I would love to see it.
That's my blind hope, I guess. is that there's linear conclusions that can be drawn of how I reacted to it and how I'm dealing with it and how I'm understanding him, no matter how much it bothered me, how I am understanding him.
Again, along the line of reciprocity, right? If I'm able to understand, accept, and put my pain away, then therefore you should be able to do the same thing. And I know,
I
again,
would hope that you
perfect.
can, yeah.
Where does Megan come to the picture?
He was going to South Dakota for the weekend, and I couldn't go with him because I only have so much time off. He gets like a month off every year, and he gets 6 days off. So like he didn't even have to take vacation time to be here
Okay.
this weekend. He was going, and my mom had our son, and I was supposed to have the weekend to myself, and I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Okay.
And like he told me, he's like, well, why don't you just go? Why don't you go stay with Jason? Okay, but why? And I'm like, okay, you know, I'll spend the day with him, but I'm not gonna stay overnight, even though you told me you could. I'm not gonna stay overnight. And that was the day that he went to South Dakota and slept with Megan. Was, I'm giving you this, have your weekend, do whatever, even though I'm not really okay with it. I'm telling you I'm okay with it, and I'm expecting you to understand that I'm not really okay with it. But I'm gonna go do this.
Okay. Now time frame, that's, when did this happen?
4 months ago.
4 months ago. Okay. So I'll start, so thanks for the context. I want to get more information from your vantage point. And again, please feel free to add or subtract whatever is missing. Who's Megan?
Mutual friend of ours.
Okay.
She stayed with us 4 years ago in the house? 5 years ago in the house?
And that tied
6 or 7 years ago in the house. Holy buckets.
Okay. So she entered your life together at the same time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I worked with her at the vet clinic for a little while.
Okay. So what was your first impression of Megan?
Really mousy, unsure of herself, not very confident, and then after talking with her, she's shy, real shy. So,
No, she's not.
yeah, until you get to know her.
Okay.
But, like, so she just showed up in our lives here not too long ago again, and
So when did she come back in your life or resurface?
It was before Clay left, so it was before the end of the year.
yeah, I don't even remember what the deal was, but anyway, she came home.
Okay.
And she was home for a while after school, and she hung out with us on and off a little bit
Over the holiday break.
over the holiday break, and then she went back to school. And
Now, prior to that, did you have a lot of individual interaction with her?
no, I didn't, not barely anything at all.
Like I said, it was one of us would know that she was home when she was home.
Okay.
And when we were with her, It
Okay.
wasn't.
Okay.
So anyways, I'd talked to her on the phone a bit, and she was going through kind of a rough spell, and she got a job in Sturgis, South Dakota.
Okay.
And her and I, we decided to take off for the weekend. And we stopped and visited her, and for some reason Megan was having a really, really rough time.
Okay.
It was our anniversary.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be our weekend.
So I
Just
asked
us.
Megan to come along with us.
That's throwback to when you said about our anniversary. Is that the same anniversary?
Yeah, and it was supposed to be just our weekend. It was just us. There was no distractions, no phones, nothing. It was just him and I.
Okay. Go ahead.
And things had been really rough between her and I. Really rough. And that was kind of the purpose of getting out and going. And it didn't smooth out really during the trip down. It didn't do any better.
Okay, so things were rough between the two of you because the conflict about Jason?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, we ended up going to Deadwood, spending the night there. Megan came along with us. I said, hey, let's take her along. She needed help.
Okay.
The next morning, Megan was laying there and she went to the bathroom. She came back and she snuggled up with us on the bed.
Okay.
And Mia just got up and went to the shower.
The backstory to that is I'm exceptionally comfortable. I'm secure enough in our relationship that it doesn't matter. Like, he can flirt, like openly flirt,
Okay.
and it doesn't bother me because I am secure in this relationship.
Okay.
And
And that's from the onset of the relationship, right? That's from
Yeah.
the day one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always been that way.
Okay.
And she stayed over at our house over the holiday break. She spent the night with us once, and she was asleep on the couch, and he had to get up and go to work, so he went out and got her and brought her into the bedroom, and she laid down with me and like, okay, whatever, share a bed, it's fine.
Okay.
But there was one other time before that he pushed boundaries with her that he ended up telling me about it, and it was, hey, is this okay? Hey, am I okay with Megan? Did I do wrong with Megan? Because she's very traditional, very straight-laced. It would
Okay.
never occur to her to say no.
Okay.
Oh,
This incident that you described, how
Mhm.
far back was this? And do you recall what was the boundary that was tested?
it was over the holiday break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So this was in the midst of, you guys having conflict about,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You recall what was it that he,
She had her bra on and she was sleeping, and he's like, why don't you take your bra off? It'll be more comfortable. She's, no, I'm okay. It's fine. I'm okay like this. I don't want to take my bra off. And then he did it for her.
oh. Now, how did that register for you when that happened?
It bothered me for her
Okay.
because that's a consent violation. She said, no, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to make her comfortable.
Okay.
And then when he brought it up to me, I'm like,
Okay.
it didn't, like, the interaction didn't bother me for the interaction. It bothered me because you can't do that with her. That's not okay.
I see. This was about, a fun-taking perspective. I'm offended on her behalf because of the boundary for her as a person versus me not being okay with you having interaction with another woman, right? So it
Yeah.
wasn't about that part.
No,
Okay.
he's always been intrigued by her, and I always knew it. And I've always been okay with it, and I've told him it's
Intrigue sexually?
It's okay. I think so.
Okay, agree or disagree?
Not really. I don't. Short women don't.
Then
But no.
explain this part about, interacting with her in a sexual way as far as taking the bra off.
I don't even know how it started. It started off more as playful than anything.
Okay.
And it just,
But it's sexual playful, right? It's not.
yes, it was.
It's not.
It was. And it was just one of those,
Brian knows best.
yes, I know best. So I didn't listen. I just,
Why not?
you're uncomfortable, get comfortable, go. And I pushed my boundaries. I did it. It was me. It was all on me because I don't know
Sure.
when to stop.
But what was the reason of, what was to be gained by doing that, right?
I don't know.
Okay. So I can't tell you what stands out, and then please push back if it's
Okay.
wrong. because again, because the nature of what's being described, because the case that she's making, there was sexual interest or sexual intrigue, right? And then that's the only thing to think about analyzing that situation. Here's somebody who is, we're being playful, she's on the bed.
You know what the intrigue was with Megan? She was willing to learn with me. She was willing to talk about stuff. She was willing to carry on a conversation about something that was interesting, something that I could learn, something that was. And then the Deadwood experience, she goes, "Oh yeah, well, Mia was telling me about your guys' relationship." And I go, "Oh." Well, yeah, she goes, "It's a very interesting relationship, but you guys are open." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that."
Okay.
I'm like, "Well, okay, fine." And we talked about it. And it's like, okay, well,
She misunderstood what I
Then-
said.
then if that's the kind of open relationship she's expecting, then fine. Whatever, if it's good for her to go and be with Jason all the time and get away, then fine. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell her what happened. Well, I didn't. And then the next,
So what did happen? Because I got lost.
So in Deadwood, he's right. She went to Deadwood with us on our weekend,
Okay.
which irritated the shit out of me because you say it's just us, and then,
Okay.
hey, she can come along because it's okay with me.
Okay.
And he didn't ask me. He just said, hey, why don't you come along with us?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'm okay with her being around. It's fine. She crawled in bed with us, which isn't unusual.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
we always pile up together. Like
Okay.
she'll cuddle up with him or like whatever. We've always had that open dynamic.
Okay.
And that's what I meant when I told her, we're open about, the attraction that he obviously feels to you.
Okay.
I see it, and it's okay with me as long as it's consensual for both of you. It's okay with me.
Okay. What compelled you to tell her that?
Because she's very traditional, and I could see the intrigue on his side.
Okay.
To me, apparently I've read it wrong the whole time, but to me, he's always been intrigued by her.
Okay. So you saw the intrigue and an opportunity to greenlight it. By the way, if you have the same feelings toward him, go for it. What was that?
I guess. I don't know. We were talking about him. The context of the conversation was when he took her bra off.
Okay.
That's what started that context of the conversation. And I'm like,
Okay.
he's always been, in my opinion,
Yeah.
he's always been intrigued by you.
Yeah.
If that's something that you want to explore with him, okay.
That I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
So in Deadwood, again, I didn't think anything of it.
Okay.
I needed to get up and go to the bathroom, and she had snuggled up in bed with us, and she
Okay.
was on his side of the bed.
Okay.
Whatever, I'm okay with this. I trust both of you.
Okay.
So I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I left those two in bed together, and that was apparently me giving them permission to do whatever without talking to me about it.
Okay.
And that's where the conversation started between them was, well, she's okay with this, so.
Okay.
But the thing is, I've never been in any way unclear, is just talk to me about it.
Okay. So again, just to me following the sequence of events. We have the bra incidents, right? Then the conversation about, by the way, I get the sense that he's intrigued. There's a green light on my end. I'm open to it,
Mhm.
right? But again, there is no discussion about him saying, hey, by the way, I'm interested in exploring this with Megan,
Mhm.
right? At this point in time, it's just you just pointing
Yeah, Megan and
yeah.
I were talking.
pointing that out to Megan and just saying, hey, as an opportunity, if you feel the same way, green light on my end,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Now, then Megan acted on that green light right away that same day?
No.
Okay.
No, they didn't.
Okay. Then
That's
what?
where the
Okay.
rest of the story comes in.
Okay. So you help me out, right?
So we were laying there and we're talking, and wherever the subject led to, it came to kissing. And it was like, she goes, I don't really know how. Okay, well, why? And it led, so I kissed her there. That's all I did.
So this is new for me, because I haven't heard this part. We've never fleshed this out.
Okay.
So anyways, it stopped there. And then that's when the texting started, and that's when the playful learning of what I would love to do with her, the playful learning of, hey,
Okay. You talking about sexting?
not really sexting.
Okay.
Just speak.
Yeah.
Quit trying to sugarcoat shit and talk.
So, I mean, it was just interesting conversations about where you'd like to be touched, where your sensitive spots are, where,
Okay.
what you've done before,
Okay. So
it wasn't,
sexual communication about sexual interest,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. Now, accurate what she says in terms of, you and her never had to talk about what is this, do I have a green light from you about Megan, this one I'm pursuing to do with Megan, at any point in time?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't that, it wasn't.
How come that conversation didn't happen?
What was good for her is good for me.
Meaning?
Well, she'd already cheated on me. She didn't want to touch me. She didn't want me.
Okay.
Well, guess what? There's Megan.
Okay.
She wanted me. She wanted to talk to me. She wants to touch me.
So why not let her, hey, by the way, you're doing this with Jason, I'm gonna do this with Megan.
I don't know. Honestly, I never even thought about it when I did it. It was,
Okay, and now we're pausing for a moment of retrospect to see if you can think about the thought, because it's important, right? Because remember, she's trying to figure out how, not only for how she got impacted by this, of how are the two of you different and the same when it comes to the infidelity, right?
because at the time Megan cared to learn about me. She cared to figure these things out with me. She cared to actually want me to touch her, for
Okay.
one. And it was good. It was nice to have that attention, to have that somebody want you again.
Now, remember, and again, correct me on this part here, the infidelity on your end, in terms of the problematic with this interaction with Megan, is not that he had the interest or the intrigue or the interaction, is the secrecy and not talking about it, right?
And
Before it happened?
Yes, and the misconceptions on his part, because he thinks that I don't want to touch him.
Okay.
At that point, I didn't want to touch him, I didn't want to be with him, I was constantly gone and constantly away from him, and at that point, I actually was not. I was home.
Okay.
Every time I
but-
try to push back to him, I get pushed away, but it's
again,
my fault.
The part about it's not really the interaction that bothered me, is you hiding it and your interpretation of my relationship with you. That's
Yeah.
the problematic.
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware of that? That this is her, beef with that issue?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I do know that part.
So explain why I interacted with it, with that way, because, there's somebody who's interested in learning. I feel that there's a distance between us, whether it's an accurate perception, misperception, right? That's important to a point. But the part of why did I have to hide this from you?
Because she's still hiding stuff from me all the time.
Okay.
And I'm not, it's not he said, she said. Megan said, oh, hey, this is the kind of relationship that I'm like, okay, well, that's news to me. Well, if she's fine with it, then fine.
Okay.
And in retrospect, yeah, no, I knew I was fucking up. I knew I fucked up.
Okay.
I knew I did the one thing that I loathed that she did.
Okay.
I don't.
So can I tell you what sounds like a potential reason, and you push back if it's not?
Go ahead.
Okay, it's really more along the line, you know, you hurt me this way by lying to me and deceiving me, so I'm gonna hurt you that way. That's what it
I
looks
can't argue against it.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay. But if something else comes up, please feel free, but like I said, but,
Right now, I
Not
can't.
arguing against it and accepting it are two different things.
Hey,
I've accepted it was revenge.
I guess,
And that's what I'm most offended by. How dare you do that to her? She was an innocent bystander, somebody that didn't deserve that. You go to the bar and find somebody to fuck, but how dare you do that to Megan? We're not the same.
yeah.
do you agree or disagree with what she's saying?
I'll agree with her. I will. I
Willing-
did wrong.
Willingly, right?
Yeah, willingly. I did wrong. I took advantage of somebody that didn't understand what was going on, what was
Okay.
being, I led her astray. I did it. It was me. Because of the attention that I was getting, I did it. It's me. It was on me. She gave me attention. I enjoyed the attention. I enjoyed the learning with her because it was intriguing. I enjoyed those things. She helped me learn. She helped me understand. She talked to me about her goals, what she wanted to do. Not even all sexual, not all the time, not any of that. It was learning her and going from there.
And now, the reason that you see her as innocent or victim is because from your end you feel like, you know, she really operated on what she was led to.
I know that he lied to her. Because when I asked her about a text message that he told me that I was being paranoid about, she looks at me and goes, he told me that you knew everything that was going on between the two of us.
Okay, and then that's the direct, you know, lying and misleading, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, that's why on your end, I give her green light, he's telling her she's okay with it, Megan is,
Yeah,
you know,
he just let it happen.
thinking that she's on the right track.
He just let it happen. He misled her into
Okay.
what he wanted.
Okay.
I'm offended about it for myself and hurt about it for myself because he took something that he knew was really important to me and did it with her instead, which is something that I've not ever intentionally done. And-
Elaborate on that part, I want to see that distinction.
I guess the submission thing, that's something that he's shown to me repeatedly that he doesn't want.
Okay.
So, up until that point, what?
Keep going.
It was something that he showed to me that he didn't want, or if he wanted it, he didn't know how to handle it, and he didn't want to talk to me about it,
Okay.
and it was taking advantage of that aspect of me
Okay.
without the care that should come with it, and he took like my perfect fantasy day, which is something that him and I have never been able to do because we've only ever been out on horseback once together, and it was with Megan after the fact, and did it with her instead.
Okay. Go ahead. You're trying to respond.
The latter vision. Yes, I did. I screwed that one up for her. I did. I did it. The submission part. She's throwing something in my mouth that it's not there. It's not the way she's putting it.
Okay, explain it.
I have told her from the beginning. From the beginning, when you told me, hey, this is what Jason did for me. This is what he's doing. This is what it led to. I said, hey, okay, let's research this. Let's find this for ourselves. Let's do this for ourselves. You and I do this.
Yeah,
Well,
since
no,
that
I don't want
catalyst.
Let me finish. Continue.
Well, no, don't you get it? I got this over here. I can learn from this and bring it to you. I can learn over here and bring it to you. It's not, hey, let's learn here and make our own. It's, no, I have this here and let's bring it over here. Well, I found, hey, I don't know about this. It's intriguing. Okay. Then learned into it. She was willing to learn into it, play into it.
Okay.
She did the research with me. She said, hey, I'm not comfortable to this point. Okay.
Okay.
It's okay. And it was, I learned. I get it. I understand it. I was able to learn with her. Because she was willing to learn with me. She was willing to take steps and learn.
So let's see if we can agree to this part. Here, here's something that was important for me. I was asked of you, but either express that you don't know how to do it or it's not interest of yours. So far, so good? Okay.
Up until the catalyst of Jason.
Yes.
I mean, past that point, he's absolutely right.
Okay. That again, transition into, okay, well now here I see you, doing this with Megan. This is something that I've been asking for, something that I've been interested in, and now they've been given to somebody else, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's see.
Yes.
So let's agree on the yes part, and I'll clarify the no, right?
Okay.
But on principle, is yes, that dynamic was tried, explored, whatever label we want to put on it with Megan.
Yes.
Okay. So she's not wrong about that part.
No.
Okay. The explanation is what, well, why did I do that there is because Megan gave me what I needed to do that with her. If you had given me what Megan did, or interacted with me the same way that Megan did, I might have been able to do that with you. Along those lines? And I'll tell you, the part that's down out is what is because, well, because she was willing to learn with me versus here, go figure it out. And that's why I farmed this out to Megan.
Not really farmed out, but yeah. But I get it.
But that's the distinction that you're saying.
Yes. Okay. It was. It's easy to. Like, if you're gonna ask somebody, hey, this is what I'm interested in. This is what. Okay. Then learn with me. Let's learn what we don't know.
Pain is a natural consequence of betrayal. The intensity of the feeling and the outlets we choose to process it impact our efforts of recovery. Revenge is a misguided attempt to restore justice through the reciprocation of hurt.
I'm sold on the idea of how it's easier for somebody to learn faster or better if there's somebody who can show them versus here figure out for yourself, right? But let's put that on the back burner for a second because the reason, that's not the only reason I'm talking about the infidelity, but one major reason why we're making sure that we highlight that today, right? Because we're talking about the big picture, right? Part of what trying to accomplish here is to what extent talking about your infidelity, right, changes the outcome about the decision, about the relationship, about the poly piece. But also, in order for us to get that, we have to look at how is your infidelity and her infidelity are different and how are they the same. Because I keep hearing you trying to make that distinction, right? So on your end first, how is what you did is similar and or different than what she did?
What I did was similar.
Huh?
I lied about it. I covered it up.
Okay.
I wasn't truthful with her. And I didn't come out. I don't even know when I was planning on coming out to it.
Yeah.
But I did. I was deceitful. I did
Okay.
hurt her. I did.
So these so far are the similarities between what you did and what she did?
Similarities, borderline, yeah. Mine were probably worse than hers
Okay, how was yours different than hers?
because I hurt two women that I care about at the same time
Okay.
instead of just hurting one person. I hurt two of them all at the same time. Like hers,
Okay.
she's patched up on her other side. Her other side is all patched up. You don't have to worry about
Okay.
them.
Would you like to give your answers, or can I weigh in with the distinction that I see and then see if it fits with yours?
The misconception is on his part that I don't want to learn with him. I absolutely want to learn with him. I have made that compromise. I want to learn with you. I'll do these things. Let's go online. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. However, in order for us to be able to learn together, I have to be able to show you this because this is part of it.
Yeah, so that's again,
But this is off limits.
yeah, because again, if this is about are we going to learn, is what are we learning, right? Because about can we learn together, sure, but us learning together from your vantage point is learning together with this part of it, and this part of it involve people, not just people, but specifically Jason, right?
Mhm.
Versus learning together is just me and you, and maybe other people who are not Jason.
Right. And the linear
Yeah.
conclusion that I
So-
want there is he just said the same thing.
So before we see that parallel, right? I want to make sure that we're all agreeing or disagreeing on the similarities and differences. How difference is going to be easier to talk about. Difference between your infidelity and her infidelity. One, this idea of there is an innocent bystander who got stuck in the crossfire. Megan versus Jason. He knew what he was doing.
Eyes wide open.
Yeah, there was that understanding of what he was walking into. If that's a fair difference, okay. Another difference is the malice piece, meaning that, so far off, you're doing this, I'm hurt, right? I want to reciprocate some of that. And I understand you said I can't 100% say this, but I also cannot argue against it,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Okay, so that's a different distinction, right? Because again, on your end, the byproduct was pain, but that was not, you hurt me, so I'm gonna do this.
And the consequence that I don't think he can grasp the depth of is looking me in the eye and saying, you're being paranoid. Because I've always trusted my intuition. I've always been able to connect the dots. I'm an overthinker and he knows it. He knows that when I brought that to him, I knew what was going on.
Perfect.
And it would have been perfectly acceptable for him
Yeah.
to just fucking tell me
Yeah.
at that moment.
So the another major difference that you're having is what is this questioning / shaking my foundation in my own reality, right? Because you're pretty much telling me that, for lack of a better word, my observation, my senses are crazy. That I lost touch with reality, right? And that's offensive on many levels for you. Fair? That's another difference because she did not do that to you.
That's fair.
Another major difference is despite the dishonesty and deceit on her part, but there is also more honesty and transparency than yours, right? There were several times where it was like, okay, this is what I'm doing, right? Whether it was before the lines was crossed, before or after the lines were crossed, That's the difference between the two of you, that she was more forthcoming about this is what's going on and these are the lines where it crossed. Would that be fair difference?
That's fair.
Okay. So far so good?
Mhm.
Okay, so these are the major differences. Okay. Now what?
There isn't anything in the world that Megan and I did that I don't want to do with you. There isn't anything in the world that I don't want to learn without you.
And I'm willing to explore that with you, with her, if that's what
But
you want.
I don't want to explore it with her.
I gave you the option to tell me the truth, and it would have been okay. If you would have just told me the truth, it would have been okay. And you know it.
No, I don't.
You know that it would have. You should have just come clean, and yeah, I'd have been a little upset about it because you decided to hide it from me, but I gave you the out to just tell me. Looked me in the eye and told me, not only did you lie to me, you told me that I was making it up, that I was imagining it. And I had to lay there and work through my head and decide if I believed you or not, knowing that you were fucking lying to me.
So what is the answer to that question?
I did that for you. I'm still sitting here. Doesn't it matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Okay. So do you want an answer to that question?
Sure.
No, asking you.
Yeah.
Okay.
How could you?
How could I? Well, let me see. Scared to death because I found something in somebody else that actually wanted to learn with me. Scared to death to tell you that she acted on it because of something that you had said to her.
So it's my fault.
No,
Let
not
me
your
finish.
fault one bit. Scared to death that I fell into the same pattern that you did of not being able to tell me. Of the one day I asked, hey, you're sleeping with Jason, aren't you? And you flat looked at me and you told me no.
At that
And
point,
at that
I
time,
wasn't.
Hold on.
and at that time you did.
No.
You told me no,
Okay.
but
I wasn't.
Let him finish.
and at that time you told me no, but just because I suspected it, you automatically clicked, well, why not? He's a sex, so I'm gonna do it. And you told me that much.
So you're saying the answer is I'm scared to death of all of these things. So what did lying to her about it or hiding it accomplish for you? What did you gain from that, or what did you avoid by that?
More turmoil, more hurt.
No, but aside from that, because everything we do, good or bad, we get something from it in that moment, right? We're either trying to avoid something or that we're getting something.
I was trying to avoid hurting her. I already knew that we were in a horrible spot. So that was an understatement.
But you know that what you're doing was hurting her.
Yeah, it was just,
Okay, I'll throw a suggestion. Was part of that if I told her about this, then that mean that she's gonna continue full speed with the Jason situation because now,
Yeah.
it's even Steven?
now it's just gonna be retaliation. Well, guess what? She's gonna go sleep with him because I did something stupid too.
Okay.
You really think really poorly of me. For all that you know about me, you think I'm a horrible person.
Oh, I don't think you're a
Okay.
horrible person.
You just
If
illustrated
there's-
it really well.
So let me elaborate on that part, just to make sure that it's clear in terms of why this stands out to me. The discussion between the two of you, whether direct or indirect, about the possibility of this is who I am, I'm poly, right? Let's explore a different model of relationship has been already taking place since the discovery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot easier for somebody to convince their partner with that argument if they saw their partner taking action and steps toward exploring that too. So if I'm in your position, I find out that I'm poly, right? My partner is exploring, tiptoeing, whatever, experimenting with poly, right? That's gonna make it easier for me to be on the same page because, hey, you know what I'm feeling,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah, that doesn't mean that that's, like, it wouldn't have spurred me into action, it would have been, do you understand?
Sure. And again, explaining why he did or did not do it is not going to justify or excuse it, right? Because at the end of the day, nothing justifies or excuses dishonesty, period.
I just, I don't know that he understands the depth of that betrayal. It's more than, I don't care about the physical, I don't care about the sexual. I'm glad, and I've told you this, I'm glad that you found somebody to explore with, that'll give you the physical contact that you need that I can't give you. Because I can't even talk to you. I'm glad you found that, and if you want to keep it, you can. I'm okay with it because it's something that you need. I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with the fact that that was the betrayal. It wasn't that you slept with her. I don't care that you slept with her.
Perfect. A point of parallel, compare, contrast. And this is tied to the piece of what I'm okay with you, poly, but because of the awful way this came about, it's unforgivable. Jason has to be out of your life. Flip side of the argument on her end, whatever you did with Megan, right, whether it's poly, exploration, whatever it is, right, came with a context as bad or even worse than what happened between me and Jason because you betrayed me by questioning my reality,
Fucking me.
right? And despite that, right, if that's the path that you're planning to go through or you're still going through, I'm accepting of that because you need. One of those plans?
Yeah.
Perfect, okay. That's the big parallel.
Thing is I don't want to need it with anybody else. I don't want to need it with anybody but her. She's the one that I want to be with. She's the one that I want to make my life with. She's the one that I want to be in the paper with 50 years from now. She's the one I want.
And I want you to.
And here's the difference between your situation and his situation, right? So we made that math add up in terms of, because if we're just looking off context of discovery, awful, like, yeah, this is worse than this, but I'm still able to put that aside, right? It's not that, it's the issue of, to him, she's the...
There is no parallel to him.
Let me see if I can say this before I lose it. To him, Megan is a secondary substitute, is not my first choice, not the thing that it's can't find the right word to describe it.
The end justifies the means.
No, it doesn't. But just kind of to compare Jason and Megan in those circumstances, right? For him, it's really, I could do without Megan. I don't need Megan if I have you.
And
But
I accept that.
But we cannot say the same if we flip it on your side. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've got me confused about my own intentions and my own motives at this point, but
Who does, me or him?
you.
Okay.
When we listen to Ryan and Maria tell the story of Megan, we notice the following.
One, the parameters of what's considered to be infidelity between Ryan and Maria is vastly different. Ryan's definition of infidelity is really centered around emotional and sexual exclusivity, while Maria's definition is centered around honesty and transparency, which is something we have seen in previous episodes, but was more solidified when we witnessed the intensity of betrayal that Maria felt by Ryan's dishonesty. Two, even though both Ryan and Maria were unfaithful, it was important to identify the parallel and differences to help the two of them gain clarity about their motivations, as well as the impact of their actions. The interesting part that I want you to keep in mind was how Megan was used by both Ryan and Maria to achieve their goals pertaining to the type of relationship they envisioned to have with one another post the discovery of the affair. Megan served as a tool for advocating for polyamory by Maria and was used as an outlet for learning and revenge by Ryan. Until then, be well, be safe, and embrace the possibility for a brighter future.